Hey there, it's Dr. Brenda, sociologist, financial coach, founder of Gutsy Women Finances Community, also full-time RVer traveling the country with my three cats. Ah, there they are. We got Dolly over here, Coco, and Izzy sleeping away this afternoon. Hey, please subscribe below if you already subscribed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Today I'm going to talk to you about Harvest Hosts. What is Harvest Hosts? It is a membership that allows us RVers to spend typically one night at a winery, a distillery, a brewery, a museum, a farm. I mean, there's a whole, I think there are over 3,000 different hosts now in the country that have signed up for this program. It's $99 a year. I looked online today and there was a 15% deal if I'd signed up in the month of May, talking May 2022. So you'll see periodic deals. I signed up when I first started. It was May 27th, 2020 when I hit the road for the first time. I absolutely loved the idea of Harvest House. So why give it up? Why did I did a one-year membership and found out it just wasn't for me. So this is my experience. Okay, there are three reasons. First of these, now, got to have a caveat here because I know some people absolutely love Harvest Hosts. I'm traveling by myself, well, with the three cats, but I'm the only human being. And so I'm navigating, I'm driving, all the responsibility is on me. So my number one reason for giving up, canceling out of Harvest House is the stress level of trying to find these locations. So I was going to stay at three different Harvest Hosts on my first journey around the eastern side of the U.S. and into the Midwest. The first night I had some issues with the RV and I couldn't get there on time. Plus, it was too hot. I wouldn't, there's no place to plug in. I would have been sitting with a generator trying to cool off the RV all night long, which would have been noisy and uncomfortable. So I really only stayed at two Harvest Host sites. Both of these were in the Midwest, and both were difficult to find. I mean, they're quite a ways off of my route, off of the freeway. And that's something to consider, especially as gas prices keep going up. I mean, they're just, the more that you have to go off route, you have to think about that. But it was, I just, in both places, I was just like, where am I parking? Where am I going to? So they were in rural areas. The first place was a small farm, and I grew up on a farm, and, we had large circle driveways because he had farm equipment, he had all kinds of stuff going on. So I really didn't expect to have an issue, but I did. I got closer and I'm like, this doesn't look right. I mean, I got a little farmhouse here, whatever's left of that barn there. It's a small barn. There's not much to it. There's just a straight driveway. There's nowhere to turn around. Is this possibly the right place? And so I double checked the address, looked again, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in. And I did, and luckily one of the owners came out, opened up a pasture gate, and I turned my RV around in the pasture so that it faced the road on the main driveway. And so that was tricky to find. The second place was a brewery slash winery, and as I approached, I'm on a county highway, and there's not much traffic, not much going on in the area. And again, I'm like, okay, there's the sign. I'm at the right place, but there's a small driveway for cars, and there's this other area that will get me into the grass. I'm like, where am I parking again? So once again, and again, I'm by myself, so it's not like, I pulled over onto the side of the road. I don't have another person to go out and ask around and where am I supposed to park, and they came out. I mean, you give them an idea of when you're going to show up. And so someone came out and steered me around, navigated me to the back area, and just a small fence opening. I couldn't maneuver with my Jeep behind me, so I had to actually unhitch to go into their pasture area and parked under this majestic oak. It was great place, but again, the stress level of having to figure out where this place is and navigate when you're on your own, there's just so many factors that you have to weigh in. It just wasn't worth it to me. Second reason was the cost. So sure, $99 a year sounds like a really good deal. I can, pay that, make that back. Now the expectation is that you're going to stay at these small businesses and you're going to do some business with them. So if it's a farm, maybe you're buying some eggs, some cheese, whatever they have, vegetables, meat, handmade goods. If it's a winery, go buy some bottles of wine, all of those things. And again, I'm good with that. Now, my first place again was that farm. And immediately they wanted $20 for me to help them feed the animals. Again, I grew up on a farm, guys. It's not a real treat for me to feed the animals. You guys should be paying me. So, it didn't matter that I was one person. I could have had 5 kids in the RV with me. I could have had a spouse. It still would have been $20. So I feel like there's a penalty of being solo as sort of a surcharge. When you're traveling alone, you're still paying the same prices. Paid my $20 and I gave them some advice. They had bought this little milking machine for their goats, and it was a piece of garbage. And I told them, I milk cows. I knew what a milking machine was. I could take a look at it, and basically that thing couldn't suck milk out of a cat's tit, let alone a goat's tit. So it's like, there's no suction here. This just isn't going to work. Just buy yourself something decent. So, anyway, I'm paying for the pleasure of feeding pigs and goats, and yeah, they're cute, but it's like, this is not a novelty to me. And I used to get paid for working in the barn. So, the second place was the winery and the beer, the brewery, and yep, I bought some beers and listened to some music, and that was fine. Now I've since quit alcohol, so those types of places are less attractive to me. But again, you're spending money. Neither of these places had any power hookups, so I'm getting a parking spot for, convenience, I guess. Third piece. So number one is the stress level of trying to find these places and figure out where to park. The second level is that added expenses that are kind of, under the radar. Third piece is, I don't know what the rules are for Harvest House, but I don't want to be subjected to somebody's political and religious views. So that first place that I pulled into, I kind of cringed because they had biblical verses out on the driveway. It's like, you know what? I really don't want to support whatever religious or political views that you have. Keep them private. I'm pretty leery of, don't be preaching to me. What am I getting myself into here? My views are my views. Your views are your views. You don't need to advertise, and I don't want it in my face. I don't want it in my face. Now, I don't know what the policies are to be a Harvest Host, but if I'm going to a Harvest Host site and they've got a certain flag flying up there, I won't do business with you. I don't want to purchase your products. I don't want to support you when you're flying symbols of hatred or things that are just, don't push your stuff on me. So again, I don't know if that was a rarity, but it was an experience that I had. And so altogether, those 3 things really, like, this is not for me. I would rather, if I have to boondock, if I have to spend an overnight someplace, and my number one place, actually, if I can find a Bass Pro outlet, they've got a separate RV parking area. You'll see the long stripes for an RV, quiet, and there's security around. So that's I'd rather stay at one of those than spend a night trying to navigate. Now I know a lot of people love Harvest Host. They have really good experiences with Harvest Host. And maybe if I had a smaller vehicle where I didn't have to worry about not being able to back up or get out decently, maybe it would be easier. But again, as a solo woman navigating these back roads and still paying extra money to support those small business owners. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to support the small business folks too, but Harvest Host was just not a good fit for me. All right, so those are my 3 reasons. I would love to know what your experiences are. Let me know in the comments. Again, a lot of people love Harvest Host, and maybe I just had a couple of quirky experiences that really put things in a bad place, in a bad start for me. So let me know in the comments what your experiences were like. All right, so that's it for today. Hope you're doing well and happy traveling. Hope to see you out on the road someday. Bye-bye.